Not to be in y'all's business or anything, but how much money do y'all make an hour? How much?
Why do people who make good money still end up broke? That's the core question. How can someone make 100K and still feel broke? How much money would you need to finally feel like you're doing okay? 50K, 75K, 100K, 150K, or $250,000? Let me know in the comments, because I've been watching these videos about people making six figures and they're still saying they're broke. And at first, you might look at this and say, how? How are they saying they're broke? But when I started thinking about my own life, I've made significant money. I've also lost over $500,000. Yes, I've lost over $500,000. And that forced me to ask a question that changed the way I think about money. Was my problem ever just about income? Because here's what I've realized. Sometimes making more money doesn't solve all money problems. Sometimes it just gives the problem a bigger budget. And these 5 videos we're about to watch are going to show you exactly what I mean.
Not to be in y'all's business or anything, but how much money do y'all make an hour? How much money do y'all make? I just seen this video of this girl. She was like, in this type of economy, there's no way I'm showing up to nobody's job to make less than $15 an hour on a lower scale. That's like on a terrible scale. And one thing about life, yes, people have to be more grateful. We have to do a better job at being thankful for what we already have. But let me tell you something. You know how brutal that is? Nobody wants to show up to a job and work like 40 hours. And half the time, if you're making that type of money, you have to work well over 40 hours for it to even make sense. Because if not, the whole check is going to taxes. And it's crazy because when you don't raise minimum wage, but you have jobs that'll pay you $4 or $5 over the minimum wage, when the minimum wage is already like sinking. When you think of an ocean, like the minimum wage is already underwater. You're dead at that point. But to pay somebody like $4 or $5 right over the minimum wage just so that they can be able to say they don't make minimum wage is crazy work in this type of economy. Everybody can't make 6 figures a year. Everybody can't make over 100, 2, 3, 4, 500,000 making that type of money with these types of jobs. But what I do know is to not be able to make the bare minimum, you ain't seeing no extra money out your check. And matter of fact, the only way that you can even see some of your check is if you don't pay no bills. You would have to live off of somebody else.
Okay, I actually understand what she's saying, because there's a difference between telling somebody just be grateful for what you have and actually understanding what it feels like when the numbers don't work. So if you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and after taxes, transportation, housing, food, and everything else, you still can't get ahead, just be grateful doesn't solve the math at all. But here's where I think we need to go even deeper, because there are actually 2 different problems happening at the same time. One is I don't make enough money, and the other is even if I make more money, will I know what to do with it? That's key. And those are not the same problem at all, and many people don't understand that. So let me know in the comments, what income do you personally believe is enough for a family to live comfortably in today's economy? I'm genuinely curious, so let me know in the comments. And don't give me what you think sounds good. Give me the number you actually believe.
So $130,000 a year is now becoming the new poor. Right now, the average household income is $83,000. That's the median household income. But then if you do the math about the taxes they take out of your paycheck, the cost of housing, the cost of transport, the health insurance premiums, and childcare, like if you look at this graph, you're going to see that $83,000 on the average cost will leave you $10,000 in the red, right? And to be comfortable, based off of the old 1960 standard of poverty rate, it was based off of how much it would take a family of 3 to eat back then. So she would take that number and multiply it by 3, and that number would be like the golden number. They'll spend a third of their money on food, and everything else would comfortably fit within the other 2/3 of that number. But back then, food was the most expensive thing. Housing was cheap, transportation was cheap, and everything. But by the modern standard, if you take that same metric she used back then and shift it to now, you'd have to be making $130,000 to be comfortable the way people were under the same metric, the same mathematics back in the 1960s. And it's incredible to hear that number, $130,000, 6 figures is the new poor. But it makes sense when you consider everything is considered luxury. All the prices have gone up. Even my cat's angry about it. I hear her screaming over there. She knows it's ridiculous that everything is a luxury, because not everything is a luxury, but everything is getting that premium price tag because they're slapping luxury on every good we consume. And if you want to eat real food, even that's considered a luxury. So they're putting extra money on that as well. So even though I feel like it's really crazy to consider, that number is actually correct. $130,000 does seem to be the new poverty line for a family of 4. It's hard times out there, and I know a lot of people are like, I'll make that type of money, but it is hard times out there because of unrealistic expectations from the millionaires. And as you can hear, my cats are very outraged by these prices as well. So y'all have a good day.
No, this one is interesting because when I first heard 130,000 is the new poor, my first reaction was, come on, 130K? But then I started thinking about what people actually mean when they say that. They're not necessarily saying 130K literally means you're poor. No, no, no. They're saying the lifestyle that used to be possible at that certain income now costs much more. That's what they're saying. And that's a completely different conversation overall. Now, housing costs more, we get that. Childcare costs more. Transportation costs more. Food costs more. Insurance costs more. And then there's something else, right? That we don't talk about enough. Expectations. Because here's the dangerous part. You can increase your income without increasing your financial margin. Because here's what happens, right? You get a raise, and then what happens? You get a nicer apartment, a nicer car, better vacations, more subscriptions, nicer things, more stuff. And eventually, yes, you're making more money, but somehow you're still waiting for next Friday's paycheck. So here's my question. Did your income go up, or did your lifestyle just catch up with you? Because those are two different things.
Being rich is expensive, and I hear a lot of people on this app talk about lifestyle inflation. Like before, when you used to drive a beater that was paid off and you had no car payment, but then you got a nice fancy job and then you got your Benz and now you have $1,000 car payment. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the amount of money that I have to spend to be able to work, to be able to sustain my high income. So if we look back, 4 or 5 years ago when my business was just getting off the ground and I was not making a ton of money, and I also probably wasn't working as much as I'm working now. I had the time to cook breakfast every single day and lunch and dinner every single day. I had the ability to not work weekends and not work nights. Like my schedule was less demanding, right? But then I got to a point where the business blew up. And now I'm working a substantially more demanding job than I was just years prior. And that looks like I now need to live in nanny. I need childcare because I have to be able to go run into the office during second shift if something goes amiss. Like I have to have systems in place that allow me to fulfill my role as the CEO of my business. And that has required things like landscapers. So when I have 8 hours on the weekend that I can spend, I want to spend it with my family, not doing the yard, or having a meal prep service. So I'm not just eating junk food every single day because I'm not taking the time, again, to meal prep. And these things, like, I feel like when you talk about them without talking about context, without sharing the full context, it looks like lifestyle inflation. Like me talking about landscapers or housekeeper or a live-in nanny sounds like these luxury expenses, and they sound like lifestyle inflation. However, I've been the crazy person in spreadsheets doing the math, being like, hey, it costs me more money to spend an hour cooking dinner than it does to hire a meal prep service. Or it costs me more money to spend 2 hours every single weekend doing my yard than if I spent that 2 hours at work. Because at a certain point, your income and your time is worth so much money that it becomes cheaper to offload and outsource as much as you can, but it's still just more expensive than my life prior. And so I just feel like when you're in that 250,000 to like 600,000 range, like it's just really expensive to be a high earner, especially as a woman, where there's so much of those domestic tasks and child rearing and things that just like fall on your shoulders, like just by society's expectations and how historically women have been in marriages and in motherhood. But yes, I kind of at this phase now where I'm hoping that I can just find a little bit more balance and work less, but we'll see. I have big income goals. My goal is to get my income to 600,000 this year.
Now, this is probably the clip I wanted to slow down on, because she's making a point that I think gets missed when people think about lifestyle inflation. She's saying some of these expenses aren't because I'm trying to live flashy. They're because her time has become more valuable. That's basically what she's saying. For example, childcare, meal preparation, landscaping, housekeeping, business support. And honestly, I understand that. There's a difference between spending money to impress people and spending money to buy back your time. Those aren't automatically the same thing. But here's where I would add a warning. Because buying back your time only helps you financially if you actually use that time wisely. For example, if you spend $500 to save yourself 10 hours and then spend those 10 hours scrolling through TikTok, you didn't really buy back your time. Correct? Exactly. You bought back entertainment. And this is where money connects to something bigger: stewardship. The question isn't simply, can I afford this? No, the question is this helping me build the life I'm responsible for? That's stewardship. And that's a completely different question overall. Let's make this practical. If you suddenly made an extra $2,000 every month, what would you do with it? Honestly. Is it 1, pay off debt? 2, save and invest? 3, upgrade your lifestyle? Or 4, help your family? Put your number in the comments below. I'm curious to see your answers.
When I think about it, I'm not poor, but I live paycheck to paycheck. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I have money, but not, like, enough. You know what I mean? Because by the time I do have money, it's the next bill. It's the next month. And I have to pay my bills. So, I'm low-key poor. I don't know. Whatever.
This one right here, I think a lot of people understand. I have money, but I don't have enough time. And that's an important distinction, because being broke isn't always about having $0. Sometimes being broke means your next paycheck already belongs to someone else. Bill collectors, water bill, light bill, internet, you get the point, right? Your paycheck comes in, rent takes some. The car note takes some. The credit card takes some. The grocery store takes some. Subscriptions, Netflix, takes some. Childcare takes some. You get the point by now. And before you even have a chance to breathe, the next paycheck is already spoken for. That's not necessarily an income problem. That's a margin problem. You have no space between what comes in and what comes out. And when there's no margin, one flat tire can become an apocalypse. I've been there. I know how it feels to go broke, lose everything, sleep on floors, couches, the struggle, having to ask people to borrow money to buy food. Listen, I've seen it all. So yeah, one medical bill can become debt. One missed paycheck can completely change your month. I'm pretty sure you've been in that situation at least once or twice before.
How is everybody making ends meet in America right now? I cannot be the only person who is breaking even or who's probably even in the negative, and I make six figures. I make $115,000 a year. I just wrote down all of my bills and all of my expenses, and I'm basically coming out even if nothing, and that's no emergencies or nothing like that. If there's any emergencies or anything like that, I'm coming out in the negative at 115K. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Cell phone, $190. Capital One credit card, $300. Water bill, $85. Xfinity, $62. Southwest, $145. Gas, $57. ComEd, $175. Student loans, $225. Daycare, $1,000. Gas for the car, $75 a week. Groceries, $1,000 a month. Rent, $2,800 a month. After all those expenses I just named, that comes out to $6,339 a month. I only earn $6,600 a month after taxes. So that gives me a total of $261 remaining every month. And that's if there's no emergencies, no medical emergencies, no car breakdowns or anything like that. Not to mention, there ain't no vacations in there. There's no leisure activities in there. Just want to go out and have fun. None of that is factored into that. You factor all of that, you factor any of that other stuff in, and I am well in the negative. And this is not a huge list of expenses. Am I the only person? Talk to me. Who else is going through this right now? I know we're all going through it right now, but at six figures, this is insane in this country. I'm truly at a loss for words. What America has become, what America is right now. I don't know how long we can survive like this. This is not sustainable. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Now, this is where I want to stop and actually do some thinking. Because this person is saying they make around $115,000, and after taxes and their listed expenses, they're left with about $261. That's before any emergency pops up, before any vacation, before any major repair, before something goes wrong. And that's the part that gets me. Because we can all look at that budget and say, cut this, cut that. And maybe there are things they could change. Yes, we get that. There are things a lot of us could change in our own budget, right? But I think we're missing the bigger lesson. This person doesn't have margin. And without margin, you don't really have freedom. So now we've watched those 5 different people, different incomes, different situations, different lifestyle, different problems. But I'm noticing a pattern. I don't know if you notice it. So before I get to it, let me know in the comments what you notice before I reveal it. The pattern I'm noticing is bigger than money. It's this. You ready? More money doesn't automatically create financial peace. I'll say that again. More money doesn't automatically create financial peace. And this is where I have to bring myself into the conversation, because I've been on both sides of this. I've experienced seasons where I don't have enough, moving to America, having to ask for $1 on the street when I went broke, making 6 figures in a matter of few months, and celebrating making $500,000 to a year and change after losing over $500,000. Yes, I lost it all. Had to sleep on floors and couches. It was embarrassing. Because when you lose money, you don't just lose numbers. You start asking, where did I go wrong? What did I believe? What did I ignore? And eventually I had to confront something. I couldn't just focus on making more money. I had to learn how to steward money better. I had to face myself. I couldn't point finger to other people but myself. I have to take accountability for earning the money and accountability for losing the money or mismanaging the money. That's called stewardship. So I had to learn stewardship. So here's my controversial take, okay? I don't think everybody watching this needs to make 6 figures. Some people absolutely need higher income, yes. If your basic needs aren't being met, you need more income. That's real. But I also think some people are waiting for a higher salary as a rescue to save them from their bad money managing habits. A higher salary won't fix money management problems. Because if you don't know how to manage $5,000 a month, getting $10,000 the very next month won't magically make you more disciplined. If you spend more money every time you get a raise, you don't have a raise. You have a more expensive lifestyle. If you don't have a plan for your money, more money simply gives you more decisions to make. Be honest with yourself. If your income doubled tomorrow, what's the first thing you would change? Is it your home, your car, more vacations? Start paying off debt. Start saving more. Start giving more, or level up your investments. Comment it and let me know below, because your answer might tell you more about your relationship with money than your income does. And this is where my faith completely changed the conversation, because the Bible doesn't simply teach us make more money. It teaches us to be faithful with what we've been given. Jesus said in Luke chapter 16 verse 10 is that whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Notice something there? He didn't say whoever makes the most money. No, he said whoever can be trusted with little will be able to get more. That's stewardship. Money isn't just about what you earn. It's about what you do with what you've been entrusted with. So here's the framework I'm personally trying to think about now. Whenever more money comes into my life, I don't want the first question to be, what can I buy? No, I want to ask 5 questions. Question 1, what do I need to protect? Is it my emergency savings? Is it basic stability? Question 2, what do I need to eliminate? Is it high interest debt? Is it financial leakage? Question 3, what do I need to build? Is it my savings? Is it my investments? Is it my assets? Question 4, who can I help? Is it my family? Is it my community? Is it people in need? Basically generosity. And question 5, what kind of person am I becoming? Because that's the part money can't answer. And that's why I don't want this channel to become another here's how to get rich channel. Because there are tons of people online telling you how to make 10K a month, how to make 20K a month, how to make 100K, how to build a 7-figure business. Right? Those channels are dime a dozen, but nobody really asks, who are you becoming while you're chasing the money? Because you can make 6 figures and destroy your marriage. You can make 7 figures and never see your children. You can have a beautiful house and be miserable inside it. You can have more money and still have no peace. So maybe the goal isn't simply, how do I make more? Maybe the better question is, how do I become wise enough to steward more. That's what bounce back year means to me. It's not go become rich overnight. It's stop starting over. Get honest. Look at your habits. Look at your health. Look at your finances. Look at your relationship with the Lord. Look at your family. And ask, what needs to change so I can become a better leader? Because sometimes the biggest financial breakthrough isn't another 20,000. Sometimes it's finally realizing where your existing money is going. Sometimes the biggest health breakthrough isn't a new supplement. It's finally becoming more consistent with your health and fitness habits. Sometimes the biggest spiritual breakthrough isn't learning a new prayer. Sometimes it's returning to what you already know. And that's actually why I'm spending this season studying biblical principles around money instead of just chasing another income number. Because I don't want to just learn how to make money. I want to learn how to think about money differently. How to earn it, how to manage it, how to give, how to save, how to invest, and most importantly, how to make sure money serves my purpose instead of money becoming my purpose. So if you're trying to change the way you think about money too, I've linked Managing Money God's Way, 31-day devotional, and Simple Money, Rich Life, a 21-day financial reset. Okay? I'm going through this with my son as well. And don't buy these because I'm telling you to buy them. Okay? Check it out if you're in a season where you know your relationship with money needs to change. So let's go back to the question. Why do people who make good money still end up broke? Sometimes it's because they don't make enough. Sometimes it's because the cost of life has changed. Sometimes it's because they're supporting a family. Sometimes it's because they're dealing with debt. And sometimes it's because every time their income raises, their lifestyle raises with it. But here's the part I want you to remember. Your income is a number. Your habits are a system. And your stewardship is a reflection of what you value. So don't just pray, God, give me more money. No, I want you to start praying, God, teach me how to handle what you already gave me. Because the goal isn't just to make more money. The goal is to become the kind of person who can faithfully handle more. If this conversation made you think differently about money, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And I want to know what's harder for you right now, making more money or managing the money you already have. Comment make more or managing better. And if you're ready to stop starting over and start rebuilding your finances, discipline, faith, health, and life, go ahead and check out these books in the links below and other resources as well. And if you're ready to make this your bounce back year, go ahead and comment and repeat after me. This is my bounce back year. All right, later.